This is Steve Kerr, and you're listening to the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
All right, Steve Kerr and company, getting ready for game number 6 to try to close out the Sacramento Kings. Don't forget, folks, an early start time, 6 p.m. 5 p.m. start time. You'll be late if you go at 6 p.m. 5 p.m. start time. Get there about 4 o'clock, man. You want to beat that Bay Area traffic. Get there early, 5 p.m. start. 5 p.m. tip, and of course, we're carrying the game.
Steiny will tell you how difficult the traffic is.
Yeah, no, he's complaining already about that. Don't forget,
attack me.
Don't forget, Quest for 5, brought to you by the Alameda PD, now offering a $75,000 hiring incentive. Our team is your future. Go to alamedapolice.org to apply today. 5 p.m. start time as the Warriors hold a commanding 3-2 series lead. They've won 3 in a row in this series, including a classic Game 5 where Clay hit a big shot in the corner. Hellacious shot off a Looney screen. Wiggins with the fadeaway jumper. Draymond Green had a big night, 21.7 assists off the bench. And, of course, Steph Curry with the dagger there with the finger roll, and he and one late in the game, and the Warriors still Game 5. Let's bring in the voice of the Golden State Warriors, Bob Fitzgerald, back onto the Morning Roast. Fitz, good morning, man. How you doing?
It's the last day of school. It's the last telecast of the year. Here we go. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, man, it is. I'm going to miss you guys, man.
You that confident? Because I am. It feels inevitable tonight.
Yeah, I don't know about inevitable. I mean, all these games have been really competitive, and, you know, neither team, other than Game 3, was a significant Warrior advantage. If you're Sacramento, this is all the first and second quarter. I mean, if you're in the game, then the belief goes to the underdog, and then the pressure shifts to the Warriors. But they've been good in closeout games. They've been great at Chase Center, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, 13-1 at Chase Center the last 2 postseasons, and they had 3 closeout games last year against Denver, against Memphis, and, of course, against the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. So what's been the biggest surprise for you? Let's start on the Sacramento side of things, Fitz. Sabonis being neutralized by Looney and Draymond Green, or the Sacramento Kings' three-point shooting, especially the last 3 games where they've all struggled outside of Keegan Murray. You look at Kevin Huerter, he's on a milk carton right now, 2 for 11 in the last 3 games. Harrison Barnes, 4-15. Davion Mitchell, 4-15. Malik Monk, 3-14. And they made De'Aaron Fox a volume score here. Is that the biggest surprise, or is it Sabonis struggling against Draymond Green or Kevon Looney?
No, I mean, Sabonis, you know, when you say struggling, he still had 21 and 10 and was 9 of 15 in Game 5. So, I mean, they've done a good job on him. But he's still getting his. I think Huerter being, 4 for 25 on threes for a 40% three-point shooter. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, too, Bonte, when they do the synergy in Second Spectrum, they figure out, okay, what kind of shot quality was this? Where was the defender, the whole bit? The Kings have, like, the most wide-open threes and are the second worst shooting team in the playoffs out of 16 teams. Is that a happy accident? Is that a little bit of luck? It's probably a little bit of both, because I keep waiting, and you had it in Game 4. What if Sac rolls out and makes, 21 threes in a game?
Right.
With the way Fox and Sabonis can do other things, because you're like, hey, it's Davion Mitchell or it's Huerter. Oh, wait, it's Malik Monk, it's Trey Lyles. Like, as those threes go up, you're thinking, oh, man, like when they opened 8 of 10 in Game 5 in the first quarter, but then they go 2 of 22. Yep. 2 of 22. Like, even the Houston Rockets were like, wow, 2 of 22? Yeah. So some of that, to me, if you look at how the series is gone, and that's what I'm excited about for tonight, but the Warriors in general. Game 1, the Warriors took 53s, 19 in the fourth quarter, went 6 of 19. Right. And they only had 40 points in the paint. Well, then you look at, do you learn from your issues? Warriors aren't shooting threes great. They took 38 in Game 5, but they had 60 points in the paint. Yep. That's what they have done over these 5 games, is realize they don't have a rim protector. They don't have shot blocking. Mm-hmm. Why are we settling for threes? And if it's Steph and Clay, they can shoot threes all day. But if there are other guys, give me the show and go, give me the drives, get it to Looney, get me the GP2 or Kuminga crashing from the baseline for the dunks and stuff like that. So I love the 60 points in the paint. That's been kind of a slow, steady climb from Game 1. Let's keep that going.
Well, Bonte's talked a lot about the foundational 6, Curry, Clay, Dre, Wiggins, Looney, Poole, and we know that they need those guys to play like their top dogs. And there's about 30 to 40 minutes, give or take, of the others, if you will, combined minutes. You expect DiVincenzo to play better? Do you expect Kuminga to maybe get some run? GP2? How would you break that down?
Well, I would almost I like the foundational 6, and Steve, kind of coined that, but I put Peyton as your 7th guy.
Okay.
So that's he changed the arc of the playoffs last year when he got healthy after the Dillon Brooks foul. I think Gary was amazing and really, they shut out De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter of Game 5. And that's, to me, I think you'll see a little bit more of Peyton. I think Steve puts a Dante or a Moody or a Kuminga out there to sprinkle it a little bit, but it really is, you're only playing 8-9 guys. And in this case, it's a closeout game. So I think it's going to be those 7, the foundational 6 plus Peyton, and then a little wild card with, either foul trouble or what Steve's feeling, or if they need more spacing with Moses, or if they needed more activity, from Kuminga. And it's just one where young guys, people are like, well, why aren't they doing this? Do you know they're still 20 years old?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. They're 20 years old. That's the thing. When we look back, let's say Kuminga plays, 14 years in the league. Jermaine O'Neal didn't do anything until his 3rd year in the NBA. You don't come into the league as a 19-year-old on a championship team, and then it's like, why aren't these guys playing? It's going to happen for them, down the road. But they're in the total win now mode, as they should be, and so you go with experience, and you definitely have tightened the rotation because Steph's played the whole fourth quarter, 3 of these 5 games right now.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the rotations because I've loved the tinkering from Steve Kerr, and I think we spend so much time criticizing moves throughout the year, and yet we don't give him enough appreciation when they make, great moves that have worked. The Draymond off the bench thing, and I know he's closed, so, it's not exactly, I'm off the bench, but not starting has opened up his offense, and I feel like it's kept him fresher. I don't know. I love him with that second unit going up against lesser defenders. He's getting better looks. He's being more aggressive. I think there's something there.
Okay, so here, this is something we're going to do, like a group hug and get through this. Fans and the media, and not you guys in particular, but just they obsess about the freaking starting lineup.
It drives me crazy
at a level that makes no sense.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this out for you. Game 2, Draymond played 31 minutes. Okay, he was suspended for Game 3. Game 4, coming off the bench. He played. Wait for it. 31 minutes. And in Game 5, he played 31 minutes. And for the 73 games in the regular season, he averaged, wait for it, 31 minutes. So to me, Havlicek, Manu Ginobili, I don't care. The Warriors won titles when Zaza Pachulia was the, quote, starting center. And I love Zaza to death. The starter in the NBA, other than having your name called, tell me who's in the finishing lineup.
Right.
And then tell me how many minutes you play overall in the game. Now, to validate what you're talking about, the splitting up of Looney and Draymond is giving exactly what you're saying. Hey, Draymond, you can be more offensive-minded. Hey, Draymond, you're in with that second unit to anchor it a little bit. But when it comes to finishing, he's there with Steph and Clay and Wiggins. And then they put Draymond and Looney together. Now, what's happened is, over the year, and this is why Draymond was in and out even in the finals against Boston at different times. Teams are saying, you know what? If Kevon Looney and Draymond Green are going to beat us scoring, we're going to take it. We'll take our chances. And so you're playing with only 3 floor spreaders in Wiggins, Clay, and Steph, and they're daring Draymond and Looney to score. Go back and watch the Laker regular seasons games. Anthony Davis was 20 feet off Draymond Green and just hanging out playing a one-man zone. Okay, but now what's Draymond doing differently? He ain't standing there at the conductor at the top of the key. He's going to the rim. And so this is where I love Draymond. He's 3 of 14 in Game 4. He says, man, I missed 7 layups. I'm not going to miss those again. It wasn't, oh, God, I went 3 of 14. I better not shoot. It was, no, I'm going to go in and make these layups. So what did he do in the day between? He practiced all the little floaters, all the little runners, all the little inside scoring stuff. So then you see Draymond end up with more points since he's had since Christmas 2019. And what is he from the field? 8 of 10. And so that's for great players where, oh, you're going to leave me at the top of the key? You're going to try to play 5-on-4, 5-on-3? No. I'm going to become a factor going to the rim. And I just think he was brilliant in Game 5. I mean, that's the Draymond Green that you're like, okay, what kind of statue are we putting up for you, Steph and Clay, in front of that building?
Talking about Fitzgerald here on our Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game, and I totally agree. Even in Game 4, with he's 3 of 14, like you just mentioned, I love the aggressiveness. I go back to Game 6 last year in the closeout game against Memphis. Yeah, Looney grabbed over 22 rebounds, and he was dominant on the glass. Wiggins was special. But even Draymond Green was 6 of 14 in that game. Yep. I remember seeing him after when Draymond's aggressive. They're just a different team. It opens everything up. And then you get Klay Thompson going off for 9 straight points in the second quarter. You get GP2 changing the game with the offensive rebounding. And all of a sudden, Steph can drive to the rack there. So the spacing of this one big lineup, I was eager to see if the Warriors would ever go to that. And in large stretches, knowing that the Sacramento Kings don't have rim protection, now you get Jordan Poole going to the free throw line. Klay Thompson's being aggressive. And so it's opened up everything. And I hear you in the broadcast, Fitz. It's funny when you're saying it. Go to the rim. You're saying it in game 2. Go to the rim. And that's what they've done here. So Sacramento, how can they get going here from the three-point line and get some things going? Because like you mentioned earlier, they're just missing wide open shots, but also the Warriors have made that adjustment defensively.
Yeah, I think for Sacramento, what they're looking at is look at the Keegan Murray breakout game in Game 4 with 23 points, and then look at Murray with 10 early in Game 5. If Keegan Murray and Herter and Monk, if 2 of those 3 are clicking, if all 3 are clicking, now the Kings are the number 1 offensive team like they've been all year. The problem is they have not had Monk, Herter, and Murray clicking together in any one game. And then was the pressure too big for Murray? I don't know. But in the last couple games, you see him like, oh, he broke the rookie record for threes. Right. Like, I mean, it's there. And for Herter, this guy could go 7 of 9. Like you don't shoot 40% for a whole season and then go 4 of 25.
Fitz, I mean, it just let me ask you this, Fitz.
Killing Sacramento right now.
Fitz, let me ask you this. Keegan Murray didn't take an attempt. He didn't attempt a shot after the first quarter. Right. He came out hot like the rest of the Kings, right? 4 or 5 in that first quarter, 10 points, didn't get a shot. Was that more of the Warriors' defense, or did Sacramento just forget about him?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I mean, the one thing about having Fox dominate the ball, and then Malik Monk, when he gets it, he's always trying to go downhill, is that they have what Mike Brown calls the spray offense, where they get it either to those ball handlers or else they get it to Sabonis, and he sprays the ball, distributes it. He's the hub. What have the Warriors done? And you guys started the interview with it. You've had Draymond and Looney. No dribble handoffs.
Yep.
No, we're pressuring the passer. No, we're getting in on you. Oh, hey, we're going to gap you, Sabonis, dare you to shoot. So he does. But what does that do? It takes away all the catch and shoot in the spray offense because you're forcing the Kings to do something else. And the key, we were waiting for the last one, it is all Warrior turnovers. Like, it just, the points off turnovers, in the first 2 games were 41 to 14 favoring the Kings.
They started the game the other day, and Clay just threw one, and it's like, oh, my God, what are we doing?
Yeah, and the points off turnovers the last 3 games, all Warrior wins, 56-39 favoring the Dubs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just people like, oh, well, the turnovers are even at 12-12. It's like, no, the Warriors are shooting 58%, so those 12 missing, possessions are killing them because anytime they get a shot up, they're scoring. And then if it's a live ball turnover, you're fueling Sacramento. In the half court, the Warriors have owned the half court offense and defense in this series. It's only when you fuel the Kings runouts that you've kind of taken it on the chin. So, when you say take care of the ball, like, some of these turnovers in the first 2 games, like when you re-rack and watch it, you're like, is there someone in the 8th row that's in the rotation that I don't know because they're throwing it to that person and they don't play for us? So what's going on with that?
Draymond threw one backwards and everyone was like, "Where's that going?" And he was great in that game, but even he is susceptible to that. Steph has had a couple picked on that high pick and roll. I want to ask you about being in your bag because Fitz, at the end of that game, my dad goes, "Did you hear the Fitz line?" I go, I'm gonna go back and listen. And it was something to the effect of, the only beam being lit right now are the headlights of the Warrior bus going down 80. Did you come up with that beforehand? Because that was a bar and a half.
No, that was just, the only beam that's going to be lit are the Warrior high beams on the bus heading down 80, Highway 80 with a 3-2 lead type of thing. But I didn't want to, I love Sacramento and Mike Brown and Barbosa and Luke Locks and all. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I got to tell you, games, 1 and 2 sitting there, and when they do the whole light the beam thing, I ain't feeling that. It's like
Save that cut.
It's sort of like they're taking a little whiz on Dub Nation when they do that. So you get my Irish up a little bit. It's like, yeah, we're gonna light the beam, baby. But these are the high beams heading down the freeway.
That was great. That was great. I want to ask you a couple quick ones here. Looney's been special. We talk about him all day long. His ascension into the core 4, the core 5, whatever. He's now becoming one of those guys. So it's like, man, Looney's an all-time warrior, and the love he's getting right now, just a remarkable story there. But I do want to ask you about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the whole discussion about failure. And look, Milwaukee loses to the number 8 seed Miami Heat. They were in the play-in tournament, and they don't have Tyler Hero. Oladipo gets hurt in Game 3, and the Bucks lose. And I know Giannis missed 2 games, but they lose by blowing a double-digit lead in Game 4 and 5. What did you think about Giannis's answer to the word failure? Whether or not they had this season was a failure for the Bucks?
Okay, well, so here's I'm going to have one area and then one I agree with. I do think it sucks in life and in sports where somehow you win the Super Bowl and you're the greatest, but if you're the Buffalo Bills, you somehow suck. Mm-hmm. Let me help you out. When you make the championship in any sport, you're good.
Right.
And you had a hell of a good season. It's not like the Buffalo Bills. When you saddle up and get there 3 straight times, okay, there was another team better than you. That's okay. If you finish second to Usain Bolt, you're still the second fastest human being in the world. He just happens to be faster than you.
Right.
And I think in life we have this, you either win the title or you're a bum. No, you're not. The teams that are bums are in the lottery. Okay? So that's the first thing. Now, having said that, the Bucks are the best team in the NBA in terms of the way their roster is constructed. I've got Brook Lopez at center. Amazing year. I've got Giannis, one of the top 3 players in the world. I've got Bobby Portis. I've got Chris Middleton. I've got Grayson Allen, Connaughton. I've got the best wing defender in the league in Drew Holiday. I've got Javon Carter coming off the bench, perfect backup point guard. I've got Joe Ingles. I've got nothing but veterans. A lot of them have rings. They were great in the regular season. Here's this amazing team. That team shouldn't go out in the first round. Like, they shouldn't. Now, is it a failure if you don't win the title? No. I just said if you make the Boston Celtics last year were not a failure because the Warriors beat them. And if the Warriors don't get the title this year, they're not a failure. They're a 44-win team that's on the verge of moving into the second round. So this whole you win the title or else you're a bum, I hate that. And I think people need to really reel that back. So the word failure, I'm with Giannis. That's like Michael Jordan played 16 years, and he won the 6 titles. Was he a failure all those other years? No. Like one of those years, Michael averaged 38 points a game and was the defensive player of the year. He wasn't a failure that year. They just weren't good enough. The Pistons were better. The Celtics were better. So that's the one thing that we've gotten so into. And the second thing is like, well, the regular season doesn't matter. You know what? You're going to follow your team for 6 months. It better hell matter.
Right.
Like what enjoyment do you take out of a playoff win? Scale of 1 to 10, you call it a 9. What enjoyment do you take out of beating the Lakers, in March? Maybe that's a 4. But if I've got 54s over 50 wins, the 73-win season for the Warriors, that's still my favorite year. They didn't win the title, but they were 88-18. That's the best record ever in NBA history. So, I go to the Seattle Seahawks, the year they went 7-9 and won the division. If they won the Super Bowl, but they were a 7-9 team, don't tell me they're great. I don't want to hear about that. So, having said that, the Bucks were the best team. I thought they were going to play in the finals. They didn't get it done. Jimmy Butler was absolutely spectacular. Giannis missing those games to injury changed that series. But they had a 16-point lead heading into the fourth at home and squandered that. And that is you underachieved for what your roster is and what your talent is and what you should have done. That's fair. You did not do what you should have done. But this idea of, well, if you don't win the title, you're a bum. Like, I hate that.
Well,
because I've been in sports my whole life, and I've seen the arc of seasons and teams and improvement, and I just don't like you win the title or, you suck.
Right.
People and fans have to reel that back in because it's not right.
I'm glad that you're pointing this out, and I'm glad you pointed out the 73 wins, because to me, that was one of the lines of demarcation. We did the same thing with the Heatles. Oh, they went to 4 finals. They only won 2, failure. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, come on. Like, we can meet in the middle here. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate they didn't win more. But I do believe when you talk about regular season and everything, the way, not us, not in the Bay Area, but the way everyone talked about Steph and that Warrior team, which was the most fun I've ever had watching a team, as failures for losing that felt like the turning tide where it's rings or nothing, and it's just so unfair.
Now, put it this way. Did we like Muhammad Ali fighting Joe Frazier? Well, Ali didn't beat him every time.
Exactly.
Frazier got him, but you know what? Those are 3 of the most titanic fights ever in the history of the sport. And that's what you want. That 73-win Warrior team, they lost in the final minute of Game 7 on a Kyrie 3 and a LeBron block. There is no shame in that whatsoever. None. And so you can get into, well, you had a Draymond suspension, you had Bo get injured, whatever. I'm just saying that team played 88 wins and 18 losses. That's better than any team ever in the history of the sport. So when you're there from October all the way to June and you have the best record of any team that ever played, then that's not a bad year. It would have been great to win the title,
right?
But that still was an amazing year. And to be with the team and call all those games and travel and see a team go 73 and freaking 9,
right?
I'll take that all day, every day. Now, if they never won a ring and that was the closest they got, it would hurt more. But there's 4 of them on your finger that make you feel good that you're still doing okay.
And they were able to get the world's greatest consolation prize, which is Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I hated when that happened. That was terrible.
Yeah, 2 weeks later,
Do you wear all 4 rings at once?
I've never worn the rings.
Never
I
put it
have them
on?
all in the sweet cases and all that stuff. I'm not that guy. I'm not like hey, let's put them on. I just
not bling bling. Would you say though, Fitz, filling expectations though in that market? Because now Milwaukee has a lot of questions. Middleton could be a free agent. Giannis, we don't know about his long-term future in Milwaukee. Did bring the ring there. It was a massive step back for that team. Wouldn't you say? Because you mentioned the 16 points in the fourth quarter, blowing a 16-point lead, and then in game 4, they blew a double-digit lead in the last 5-6 minutes of that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally fair, Bonte. I mean, you're bringing up reality.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be it. It's totally fair on that, but it's just the failure word is a little fingernails on the chalkboard. That's a little rough.
No doubt about that. Game 6 tonight at Chase Center. Warriors 13-1 all-time at Chase Center in the postseason. Last 2 years, they've been spectacular. They don't lose at home, and you want to close out the Kings. They'll be desperate tonight. And you want to get there early, Fitz. Get there early, 5 p.m. start. I know you'll be on the call, so we got to drive up a little bit early to Chase Center tonight. I can't recall a weekday game starting at 5 p.m. for the Golden State Warriors. I know finals games start at 6 p.m., but 5 p.m. start seemed a tad early. And I get the Lakers in a nightcap, and I get the East Coast wants to see the Warriors at prime time, 8 o'clock Eastern. But boy, early start, man. Unfortunate.
Yeah, this is just, I'll tell your boss, Fitz and Kalena said noon, I'm out of here. So you're either getting a Chase or you're getting in front of a TV set, and, this is it. Let's go. 5 o'clock, NBC Sports Bay Area. Bonte, you got the pregame going at 4. Let's do it.
Let's go. We'll be talking a little bit later. Fitz, have a great call. I'll probably say that later on the telecast, but thanks for the time this morning. Game 6 tonight. Cannot wait. Warriors up 3-2. They can advance to the second round, and then we can maybe look ahead to another juicy series against the Grizzlies or LeBron James and the L.A. Lakers. Oh, man.
All right, see you guys.
See you, buddy.
Fitz spitting some knowledge here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Longtime Warriors announcer, of course, has been doing it for a very, 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 very long time here. What's up, Shasky? Why you got your mouth open?
No, just Fitz was just, dropping a sermon, and I feel like I'm in the front row of church just trying to soak up all of his game, No? My chalice hath run it over with Fitz isms.
Pick up your jaw, man. Pick up your jaw. We've talked to Fitz before.
When he said he hadn't put on all 4 rings ever.
I believe him.